Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at wagertalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at wagertalk.com.
Welcome into the NFL Opening Line Report Week 8 NFL slate. I am Drew Martin, and like always, joined by Teddy Covers. We're breaking it down, all the games, where these lines are going. That's the point of the show. But without further ado, Teddy Covers, welcome in. Happy Monday morning to you, buddy.
Hey, happy Monday, Drew. Although not a real happy Monday for me. I'm frustrated in the NFL right now because I'm seeing stuff and not taking advantage of it. Hopefully, if you've been watching the show, you've been able to take advantage of some of it. I know last week, difference between winning and losing was watching the opening line report on Monday. We do the doodly oops for the emergency betting alerts for a reason. It had Denver plus 3.5 last Monday. They closed to what, +2, +1, and ended up losing by 3. It was the difference between winning your bet and losing your bet. That's what we try to do on the opening line report every week. So a bunch of lines bouncing around key numbers right here on Monday morning. We got plenty of doodly oops on today's show if you want to get down on the lines before they move, take advantage of the best of the number.
Can't wait for that emergency betting alerts. And last week, like Teddy talked about, the Denver Broncos plus 3.5, the difference between winning or losing. We'll see how many we have today. Supposedly a bunch. We'll get into it. But first, Teddy, Monday Night Football, just real quick at the top. New Orleans Saints at the Seattle Seahawks, 41.5 being the total. We're seeing the Saints -4-point road favorites in the Pacific Northwest. Anything off the top of your head here for Monday Night Football the viewers need to know about?
Yeah, I'm not seeing this. I expect this line to close right where it is at 4. We've seen a little bit of under money. We may see some more under money. The weather conditions in Seattle are not supposed to be great this evening. We know what's going on in the Pacific Northwest. But in terms of urgent action, if you like the under, I'd play that immediately. Sideways. Okay. It's not a game that I have a strong opinion. I mean, Seattle's a 2-4 team with a backup quarterback and bad defensive numbers. It's Saints or pass for this better on Monday Night Football.
Gotcha. And we actually, guys, had a Thursday night game. And Teddy, this is a good one. 2 first-place teams combining for 13-1 straight up on the season. We're talking the Green Bay Packers at the Arizona Cardinals. First game up here, Week 8 NFL opening line report style. Going down the list here in rotation order. We got 53 being the total, Teddy. -3 to -3.5 is what we're seeing right now. There is a -4 out there in the marketplace. That's the Arizona Cardinals at home, Teddy.
Yeah, I'm seeing -3.5 as the broader markets right now. I'm not seeing indications that it's going to move one way or the other. Look ahead line for this game. And again, with all of these, I'm going to give you the look ahead line from last week. These are bettable numbers from the Westgate Superbook here in Las Vegas. There are other books that offer look ahead numbers. I use the Westgate number because I've been doing it for the last 2 decades. So I know they're pretty good. But the look ahead line, I'll also give you my powering number for the game. Look ahead line here, Arizona -3.5, total 52.5. My powering number is sitting at 3. The markets are at 3.5 and 53 this morning. And again, I'm not seeing any immediate urgency for either of these two sides. I mean, Arizona played like crap yesterday, and they still won by 26, which speaks volumes about what the Texans are right now. Some of the quotes after the game are intriguing. You know, a linebacker, Isaiah Simpson. It was a game we should have won, and we did. That's not a quote you would have heard out of that Arizona locker room a year ago, talking about games they should have won. You know, now there's a little confidence level brewing for this team. Kyler Murray got beaten up yesterday. That's definitely a concern. You want to pay attention to his injury report. He got sacked 4 times, took a couple of hits to the head. They did have Cliff Kingsbury back on the sideline after missing a week and a half with a positive COVID test. And Zach Ertz with an immediate impact. For the longest catch of his NFL career, or touchdown catch of his career, 47-yard TD pass. Quote, I've never seen so much green grass in the middle of the field. That's going to happen when you have DeAndre Hopkins and A.J. Green on the outside and a quarterback like Kyler. So the quotes coming out of Arizona right now, really confident quotes. This is a team that's feeling pretty good about themselves. As for Green Bay, there weren't many bad beats in the NFL yesterday. If there was one, It was probably the Washington football team plus the points. 4 times in the red zone against Green Bay. They didn't score touchdowns in any of them. They outgained the Packers. They outrushed the Packers 3-1. 5 scoreless trips inside the Green Bay 30, which, again, the Packers defense had allowed going into yesterday's game 15 touchdowns on 15 red zone possessions for the season. And then yesterday, 0 for 4. One of them was Taylor Heineke sliding at the 1 foot line instead of getting into the end zone.
Right.
That was all on him. There were multiple screw-ups from Washington. It wasn't so much Green Bay playing great. It was clearly their opponent shooting themselves in the foot over and over again. So, veteran team on a short week. There's still QB injury, still cornerback injuries galore for the Packers. I'm a little bit concerned about both of these two teams. I want to see how Kyler Murray looks and sounds in practice after all the hits he took yesterday. Again, early action. I'm not seeing a dramatic. There's nothing in this line. There's still some 53s and 53.5s out there total wise. Those may get bet down. Again, look at it was 52.5, but nothing significant in terms of an early expected move for the Packers and the Cardinals.
And Teddy, just to follow up on this, because this is the only short week game, neither of these two teams with a bye before, and like you talked about, -3.5, the broader number. If this was on Sunday, in your opinion, would this be a different number with the Packers making the trip, but because it's a short week, it being 3.5?
It might be a 3. It might be.
Okay.
I think that it might be. Again, my powering number was 3 on the game. So the short week with travel. But there's a fair bit of betting support in the markets for the last undefeated team. Arizona's getting that respect.
Sure, absolutely, guys. And that's the Thursday game. We got the Sunday slate coming up. We're going down in rotation order. Just those little numbers to the left of the team name on the Wager Talker Sports Memo odd screen. 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific kicks up first. Miami at Buffalo. First game we're talking on Sunday here, Teddy. We got 48.5, 48 being the total. Looks like -13.5. There is a couple -14s out there in the marketplace. That's the Buffalo Bills at home.
You know what's coming right here, Drew. One of many.
Doodly-oop, doodly-oop. Emergency betting alert. Doodly-oop, doodly-oop. Right off the top.
Absolutely. Well, it's the second game. Not the last week we had the Thursday night game. This is the first one.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
This line's going to 14. Oh, okay. I don't see any way that it
Okay.
doesn't go to 14. So if you like the Bills, lay the 13.5. Find a book that still has. And there's mostly 13.5. There's a couple of 14. But we're not going to see a ton of betting market support for Miami. And, of course, Buffalo is off a loss and a bye, which the betting markets tend to like. Look at line here, only Buffalo -11.5 and 49. My powering number is 14.5 on this ball game. And obviously now we're seeing 13.5s with 14 starting to pop. It's the 6th consecutive loss for Miami. Again, where they rallied back to take the lead against Atlanta, and then the defense couldn't get the stop. It's the 2nd in a row coming on a final play kick. And again, you're losing to the Jags and the Falcons, not elite opponents. Brian Flores and nothing but QB controversy swirling in Miami. And it wasn't Tua was good yesterday.
I know.
Brian Flores, after the game, he put us in position to win the game, which at the end of the day is all you can ask for from the quarterback. And I agree with that. Tua, he made a couple of key mistakes, which young quarterbacks are going to make. But again, the guy doesn't have 10 starts in his NFL career yet. All that being said, the reports out of Miami are all of a sudden everyone's job's in jeopardy, and the GM Greer could go, and Brian Flores may not last. And it's ugly now for Miami. There will only be Buffalo support in this ballgame, I would expect. We're already seeing it in the marketplace right now.
Second game on Sunday, 253, 254. Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons getting that win against Miami just yesterday, Teddy. We're seeing -2 in the hook. There are some -3s popping up. That's the Atlanta Falcons at home. 46 being the total in Mercedes-Benz in the ATL, Teddy.
We got to doodly-oop this one as well, my friends.
Doodly-oop, doodly-oop. Emergency betting alert. Doodly-oop, doodly-oop.
Yeah, this line's going to 3. All right. And my powering number is 4.5 on the game. The look ahead was -2 and 48. My powering number is 4.5. And frankly, I thought about devaluing Carolina even more than I did. Because yesterday's game for the Panthers, that was low. I mean, they were bad. Now it's 3 straight losses for Carolina, all to opponents with losing records. You have Sam Darnold, who has basically played himself out of the job, and no backup. PJ Walker came in and look, love this kid in the XFL. Loved him at Temple, but he's not an NFL quarterback, and he didn't look like an NFL quarterback. And they've got nothing behind a quarterback right now who is struggling in every way and who clearly has no confidence and who clearly does not have the confidence of his teammates. Carolina yesterday, 2 of 15 on third downs. They got 2.8 yards per play. The defense held the Giants to 4.5 yards per play. They played their guts out. They had a great goal line stand, but it doesn't matter. You know, the lowest 3 points, the lowest that they've had since Matt Rule took over. 173 yards, the lowest they've had since Matt Rule took over. You know, Sam Darnold, after getting benched yesterday, quote, "When you get to that point of getting pulled, I just internalize it. Honestly, it's one of those situations that it is what it is. He thought at the time that it would provide a spark. It's his decision, and I live with it." These aren't confident quotes. And this is a Panthers team that's shooting themselves in the foot in the red zone. Now, Atlanta certainly is a team with defensive issues. But they won 3 of their last 4 ball games. All of a sudden, Pitts and Ridley are a scary-looking receiving combo. You know, and while Arthur Smith's brain fart yesterday, you can't kick an extra point to go up 13 in the fourth quarter. You just can't do that. That's an absolute brain fart, and it could have cost him the game. You know, it didn't. Those are the mistakes we don't expect to see from NFL head coaches. All that said, Atlanta's the better team. They're the team with momentum right now, or certainly the team playing with all the momentum in the betting marketplace. And I have to think this line goes to 3. So if you like the Falcons, bet it sooner rather than later.
Teddy, next game up, moving down the list, Philadelphia at Detroit. We're seeing Philadelphia minus 3-point road favorites at most sports books right now, 48 being the total. The Detroit Lions 0-7 on the year, but 4-3 against the spread, cashing some tickets here, Teddy. What are we thinking? Eagles and Lions in Motor City.
Yeah, I thought about doodle-ooping this one, but really there's only a couple of 3.5s out there now. There's not enough of them for me to tell you guys, yeah, you can find 3.5s. If you have outs, you can find 3.5 still with the Detroit Lions, but this one will not be getting the doodle-oop, much as though I wanted to for Detroit, because this number is going to 3, but the 3's already there right now. Lions did something they hadn't done all year in yesterday's game. They took an offensive snap with a lead. You know,
good start.
It didn't last, but again, they were up 13-3 against LA, and you're just like, okay, when's this? It's over. The Rams are coming back to win. It did not feel like the Lions were going to maintain that momentum. They didn't, and of course, they went 0 for 5 in the red zone tries. They allowed 9 for 13 on third downs. It should have been an emotional hangover for the Detroit after seeing Stafford and Goff playing his former team. Here's what Goff said after the game. You know, I didn't think about it until after. But there's a lot of guys I never saw until after the trade. Being able to see them and say hello and catch up was good. It was healthy. Once the game started, it was as usual. It really felt like any other game. Worth noting, Jared Goff, in his 14 NFL starts without Sean McVay as head coach, 0-14 straight up. Dan Campbell after the loss, quote, "This is a different caliber team," talking about the Rams. We actually didn't make as many errors as we've made. We gave ourselves a chance. Of course, this is a game they lost by more than a touchdown. Lions looking for moral victories. As for Philly, again, look ahead line 3.5. My powering number is 2, and I had to devalue Philly off of yesterday's game. I really had to. That was a disaster. I haven't seen the Eagles look worse all year. Blown off the line of scrimmage defensively, blown off the line of scrimmage offensively, and as soon as they fell behind, it was a team that had no idea what to do. And I haven't seen Philly play like that on either side of the line of scrimmage where they get blown off. So either the Raiders are really good or the Eagles need to be devalued. But, by far more penalty yards per game than the next team. Miles Sanders got hurt yesterday. The backup Gainwell came in and immediately fumbled right before halftime, which set up a Raiders touchdown to take over the game. You know, Philly headed in the wrong direction right now, and I'm not convinced we're going to see any support for the Eagles in the markets this weekend. Let's not forget, Zach Ertz gets traded. The team plays their worst game of the year, and the trade deadline is not till next week. We could see Philly jettisoning veterans this week, and the Eagles may well be a bet against moving forward. Markets already telling us that with the money coming for Detroit. And let's not forget, for as bad as the Lions win, only 2 teams in the history of the NFL have gone through a season without beating somebody. I know one of them was Detroit, but it doesn't happen very often. 3 teams in the history of the NFL: Detroit, Cleveland, and Tampa Bay back in 1976. But the point is, the Lions will end up beating somebody, likely. This is the type of team they may be able to beat.
Yeah, and the market telling us that with the number going down from 3.5 to 3. He's Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. Guys, it's the NFL opening line report each and every Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Shout out to the chat box, everybody joining us live. Joe B, Kip, we got Scott Brown in the house, Spring Hill, Joe Espinito, all you guys, welcome in. Feel free to fire away any questions in the chat box. Let us know what you're looking to bet, what moves you're looking at for this upcoming week 8 in the NFL. Moving down the list in rotation order, we get the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts here, Teddy. We're seeing the Titans. This one kind of jumped off the board at me. -1 right now, 49 being the total. This Titans team is looking really strong, Teddy, out 5-2, first in the division here. What are we thinking Titans and Colts this upcoming week?
So look ahead line was Indy -2.5, total of 49. Colts won and covered as underdogs, and they won the game by double digits, and yet the money's coming for Tennessee. All right, off that opener with right now the Titans a 1-point favorite. And again, look ahead here was Indy 2.5. So Indy did Indy better than they were supposed to, which tells us what the market's doing with Tennessee right now. Tennessee's gone from afterthought to Super Bowl, one of the favorites for the Super Bowl over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
what they've done. Of course, they've had back-to-back huge wins over good teams, over elite teams. Now they face a divisional opponent that knows them, with Indy still fighting to save their season after that awful start. Now look, Titans played they were brilliant yesterday. They blitzed only once in 44 dropbacks and still got pressure on Mahomes 18 times. Their pass rush was there. All right. The offense right now, clicking on all cylinders. We've seen it. I know they scored 27 yesterday. Had KC traded points with them, Tennessee would have been able to score on every drive in that game, or close to it. The offense was capable. They spent the second half in burn the clock mode, not let's try to score mode, because the Chiefs couldn't keep up with them. One concern for the Titans, offensive line injuries. They're on real display throughout the game yesterday. That didn't affect Tennessee negatively against Kansas City, but there's a world of difference between the Colts defense and the Chiefs defense right now. As for Indy, they got the win yesterday in San Francisco in that quagmire of a game. 5 pass interference calls on San Francisco for 97 yards. 3 of those accepted, and all 3 immediately led the Colts touchdown. So the refs and the weather conditions and San Fran's inability to cover without drawing flags was as big a factor as anything else in that ball game. Worth noting this quote from Frank Reich. Remember how he played conservatively late against the Ravens and ended up costing them the win because he played for the field goal. Reich, how often we hear coaches say this? I felt like something about learning the lesson from the Ravens game. We had a 3rd and 8 against Baltimore, and I called a run. I told the guys, I'm not doing that again. I'm throwing a pass. I don't care what anybody says. It really comes to trusting your quarterback and trusting your receivers. Indy, in my power ratings, is moving up pretty significantly, every bit as much as Tennessee has in recent weeks. And like I said, my number here doesn't come with the Titans as the favorite. So my look ahead line, my power rating number is Indy -1. The market's in the other direction. We do worry about Tennessee playing a huge game 3rd week in a row.
Sure. We got 259-260 up next, Teddy. The LA Rams and the Houston Texans. We're seeing the Rams -14 in the hook. Road favorites. That's pretty high for the NFL being the road team. 47.5 being the total here. What are we thinking Rams and Texans, Teddy?
Well, the double-digit chalk again yesterday. It wasn't like Arizona had a problem covering 20. It wasn't like Tampa Bay had a problem covering 12.5. These double-digit chalk, you're better. The favorites have been way better than the underdogs for the last 5 years. It's not close.
Really?
You're betting these double-digit favorites, you're cashing 2 out of 3. again, short-term sample size, but the markets look at a 20-year sample size. I don't care what happened in the NFL in 2003. All right, I don't know what happened in the NFL in 2018 and 2020 and all of that. And in recent years, the double-digit chalk has been clearly trending towards that's what you want to be betting on, not against. Look ahead line here, LA minus 14, total 45.5. My powering number, 14.5. The Texans, this is not a road game for Houston, but their last 3 road games, they've been outscored 102-8.
Jeez.
The defensive line controlled the flow early yesterday. They got after Kyler Murray. They forced 3rd and long. But it didn't matter because the offense is so bad. Mills had 32 dropbacks yesterday for 115 net yards. The running backs, 15 carries for 42 yards. There's no offensive capability on the Texans, and the offensive line's getting blown off the ball. And, of course, 6 straight losses since beating the Jags in week 1. Houston's getting slapped around pretty regular right here. Big time. David Culley, quote, "We're going to stay together. There's a process we're going through. We don't like where we are right now. I don't blame you, but it's not like there's light on the horizon for the Texans." LA, is this a flat spot? Emotional win against you worry about that. And again, remember that quote I read about Dan Campbell a few minutes ago. We're talking about the Rams as a different caliber team. This is a team that's been built over the years. They got some weapons. LA is really good. They converted 9 of 13 on 3rd downs. I'm not convinced Houston can stop them. They held the Lions 0 for 5 in the red zone. I'm convinced Houston's going to score points. I wouldn't be surprised if this under gets hit. And the money initially moving in the other direction. I'm surprised by that. This feels more like a lower scoring game than a high scoring game to me, given the strengths of these two defenses and the weakness of a Houston offense that is by far the worst in the NFL, even worse than the Jets.
Sure, and we're seeing that total as high as 48 right now, guys. That's the Rams and the Titans. Next game up, rotation number 261-262, Cincinnati Bengals, New York Jets. We're seeing 45 as the total opener, so some under money here because we're seeing 43.5 right now. Talk about double-digit road chalk, Teddy. Cincinnati, the Bengals, minus 9.5 seems to be the consensus number right now, but we're seeing Caesars and South Point in Vegas, minus 10 here on the Bengals on the road. What are we thinking, Bengals and Jets, Teddy?
So the money's coming for the Jets. And again, you talked about the 10s that are out there. There's still a good handful of 10s out there. All around Vegas. There's some in Jersey. There's some around the country. We can doodly-oop this if you'd like.
Doodly-oop, emergency betting alert. Doodly-oop.
If you like the Jets, take the 10 now. From a spot standpoint, think about what Cincinnati's just done. All right. 2 biggest wins they're going to have all year. Zach Taylor, we're starting to earn respect. Joe Burrow. This is what Calais Campbell said about Joe Burrow. Burrow played a great game. That might have been his best game as a pro. Made it hard on him early, made some adjustments, and did what he had to do. His playmakers made play for him too. That was a absolute statement game for the Bengals against a division foe that had owned them last year and owned them in recent meetings, and now they got to lay doubles on the road against the Jets team that nobody wants to back. The wise guys want to back the Jets here because they know that this is a spot for Cincinnati where you're not likely to get anything but a flat effort from a Bengals team that isn't good enough to have flat efforts. Look ahead line here. Note this, and I didn't write this down wrong. Look ahead line. Cincinnati minus 3.5. That's
crazy. That's a huge move, Teddy.
Zach Wilson got hurt yesterday. All right. And the Jets, in terms of a replacement quarterback, Mike White is not the answer. However, they've got Josh Johnson on the practice squad, who I would expect he's going to get called up today, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if he starts. And this is a guy who's started NFL games before. Mike White hadn't thrown a pass until yesterday's game, and he came in, and he was awful. He looked every bit like a quarterback who'd never thrown an NFL pass. And he threw a couple of picks, and, it was not pretty. But if the Jets bring up Johnson, like I think they're going to, and start him this week, like I expect them to do that, the markets are telling us that they expect to see that already. We're going to see Jets money, 30 pin. It is not a spot. And since he's not the type of team that the markets are comfortable laying this price with, on the highway. Again, look ahead line 3.5, and you make an adjustment for Zach Wilson. But he's a rookie quarterback. He's not like from this. You're not trading down from Aaron Rodgers to Mike White. You're trading down from Zach Wilson to Mike White. 6-point adjustment off of 1 week's game and a QB injury, or 6.5-point adjustment. In my mind, that's a little bit much. My powering number for the game is Bengals -8.5, and I don't like this spot for the road favorite.
And Teddy, a handicapping question for you. First off, like the quarterback room for the Jets, I mean, Zach Wilson and Mike White, that's got to be the worst in the NFL. Now, I'm interested in your opinion on that. And also the drop-off from Zach Wilson. How many points is it to either Johnson? I didn't even think of that route that they might take. But to Mike White, I mean, is this 1 point? Is it 7 points? What is the drop-off in your opinion?
The markets have made a 6.5-point adjustment between last week's games and this week's games from the open. All right. Zach Wilson's not worth all of that. Cincinnati's power rating is getting, and the Jets' power rating after yesterday's is going, because it was that was a disheartening performance from the Jets in a lot of different ways in that ball game. But the markets are saying it's worth more than a field goal. Again, to White, it is worth more than a field goal. To a practice squad, Johnson on the practice squad. I mean, I don't have Zach Wilson as that good of a quarterback that I'm going to make 6-point adjustments from Zach Wilson down to anybody else.
I'm with you. Let's
see who the Jets started behind center. A much bigger difference, a much bigger drop off to the guy who hadn't thrown a pass until Sunday versus Johnson, who's has been an NFL backup for a number of years. And again, I don't know this, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to start here, and if he does, the Jets will pick.
Absolutely good stuff, Teddy. Guys, we got Pittsburgh and Cleveland NFC North battle up next. 42.5 being the total here. We're seeing -3 in the hook pretty much across the board. That's the Browns at home, Teddy.
Yeah. Look ahead line here is Cleveland -2.5, total of 45. My powering number has the Browns in the 4 range. And obviously we're looking at threes right now. And I'm not, there are 3.5s popping on Cleveland. The 3.5. The current number. There are a couple of threes out there, but there were threes across the board this morning. So all the money has come for Cleveland over the course of the last few hours. Markets aren't excited about Pittsburgh. The last time we saw the Steelers, they got back to 500, and they still gained less than 5 yards per play on offense. They won 2 straight, and following that 1-3 start. Ben Roethlisberger, after the last game, quote, "It's kind of crazy. Don't know if it's really sunk in. We got to our goal, which was to get to 500 before the bye, get healthy, and get prepared for a long stretch." And, of course, the Browns going with the backup QB in Case Keenum, who did enough against Denver. And they got Landry and OBJ back on the field together last week. And between them, they did basically nothing. Landry 37 yards catching. OBJ, let's see, he had a drop. He had called for an illegal formation. He was out of the game after banging his shoulder, and then he came back and got a couple of receptions. But they weren't shy about chucking downfield with Case Keenum. But it's a Browns receiving core that just doesn't have great rhythm right now. One disadvantage for Pittsburgh here, of course, normally when you come off the bye, you get the extra prep time. But, of course, Cleveland played on Thursday night last week, so they, too, have had a little bit of extra rest and a little bit of extra prep time. Yeah, my powering number at 4.5, and the market's already up to 3.5 on this one. So Cleveland -3's already gone. Total sitting at 45 in the look ahead. We're already seeing significant under money for this one. And obviously, as we get into late October and November, check your forecasts. There can sometimes be funky weather in Pittsburgh around this time of the year.
Absolutely, guys. Always getting important to check the weather. Good point there, Teddy, as we got next game up. San Francisco 49ers playing last night. Now here heading on the road, Soldier Field, in Chicago. San Francisco -3.5. There is -3 out there as well. This is hovering right around a key number, Teddy. 39.5 being the total. What are we thinking 49ers and Bears?
And it was all 3.5s last night, and now we're seeing a couple of threes popping. My powering number is only 2.5. That said, the broader market is still at 3.5 for this ballgame, and I'm not convinced that it's going to go to Chicago. Garoppolo, off of the bad loss yesterday for San Fran. NFL is a crazy thing. 1 week you're on top, 1 week you're at the bottom of it. Every team has its ups and downs. We're at the lowest point right now, but we can fight back. Now, San Fran only had 2 takeaways going into the last night's game. It's the lowest in the NFL. They had 2 in the first half and none in the second half. Trent Williams got hurt. Didn't play yesterday. Some injuries on the defense side of the football. All guys that left the game, most notably D Ford, Emmanuel Mosley. Those are all big concerns, but their concerns are nothing compared to the Bears, who, back-to-back demoralizing losses. First, they can't compete against the Packers, and they get blown out by Tampa. Justin Fields, after the game, quote, "Times like this, times we get beat, blown out, you got 2 choices. You can either say, that's it, I'm going to stop working, I'm going to stop playing. You can go the other right and say, I'm going to keep working. I know me, myself, no matter how many picks I throw, no matter how many L's we take, I'm going to keep going. That's just the fact." Of course, Fields has been crushed behind an offensive line that is struggling mightily. They couldn't run, they couldn't throw, and San Fran, off the back-to-back losses, the better team coming in with a little chip on their shoulder. Maybe we do see the money for the Bears. I'm not convinced there's enough of it to emergency betting alert this one down to 3.
Good stuff from Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. Guys, check him out at Wager Talk and Sports Memo. NFL 237 and 187. That's 56% since week 1, 2015, beating the NFL betting markets. Next game up, we get Jacksonville and Seattle. Teddy, we're seeing the Seahawks -3.5 or -4 right now, 44 being the total. The Jags making the cross country, almost the furthest trip you can make in the NFL. But here we go. Jacksonville and Seattle. What are we thinking in the Pacific Northwest, Teddy?
Yeah, Miami, what is it? Miami, Seattle is the biggest road trip.
Right.
So Jacksonville's just a little bit shorter. Look-ahead line here was Seattle -3. -3. Seattle at home, -3 against Jacksonville. Total of 43.5. My powering number is 5.5. The markets came out lower than that this morning. The Seahawks play on Monday Night Football tonight. Obviously, if you like Seattle tonight, if you think Seattle's going to win the game tonight, all right, you make 2 bets on Seattle, because they're not going to be 3.5 against Jacksonville if they look good on national TV tonight. They'll be higher than that.
Okay.
That's maybe the single best piece of advice I can give you on this show, is if you like the Seahawks tonight, bet them twice, because that line could only go up. And then again, Seattle's a 2-4 team with a backup quarterback who nobody trusts, and a defense that has some really ugly numbers that's been getting gashed. So if they look bad tonight, this is a 3.5 is the kind of is a Seattle look bad tonight number. Again, my powering number a little bit higher at 5.5, but I'm not looking for reasons to get myself to the window to bet the Jacksonville Jaguars off a very satisfying win and a bye week.
And Teddy, talking about the 3.5, if you like them, bet them twice. Does it work the same if you don't like them tonight? Kind of fade them twice, or no?
Not as much.
It goes
not as much,
okay,
because the number for tonight, the number for next week, looks to me to be a little bit short, which is telling me the markets expect them to lose tonight.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Okay, good stuff. Oh yeah, absolutely. And with a limited marketplace, guys, with the Seahawks playing tonight, Monday Night Football.
Well, just to be super clear, I think the markets will move more in favor of Seattle if they get the win than they will against Seattle if they suffer the loss.
Absolutely. I'm picking up what you're laying down, Teddy. Good stuff. Thanks for the analysis there, guys. We got next game up, New England Patriots, LA Chargers. Almost said the wrong city there. 48 being the total, -5.5, -6 is popping up at one sportsbook, that being South Point, but we can call it 5 in the hook pretty much across the board here, Teddy. Chargers at home against the Patriots.
Look ahead line, 6 and 47.5. My powering number is only 4.5 on this game. I'm starting to give New England a little bit of respect. We saw something the last 2 weeks from the Patriots now that I think we have to give respect, because the offense is working. I was talking about New England as an under team. New England's an under team. They're not an under team anymore, and that was on clear display yesterday. They had 300 yards on offense and 20 first downs at halftime yesterday. That's something. Mac Jones. We finally saw a kind of result, or a little bit of a result that was good, and we just got to stick to the formula and stick to the process. We got to do it every time. It can't be a one-game thing. Mac Jones learning from Tom Brady about how to talk to reporters, but that's the mature answer. That's the right answer for New England in that one. The Chargers, of course, coming off a bad loss and a bye week. Really weird game plan against Cleveland. You know, in a game where the wind's blowing, Austin Eckler only 6 carries for 7 yards. In general, the markets tend to like teams off a loss and a bye. And again, my powering number a little bit lower on this one than the markets right now. I don't see that the markets are going to go crazy on this one. 5.5, 6. I'm not seeing any urgency to bet this, regardless of what side you like.
And previously mentioned the one team off of that bad beat this past Sunday. The Washington football team is the next game up, guys, at the Denver Broncos. We're seeing the Broncos open, -4.5 there at the graphic. Now we're seeing -3 in the hook here, Teddy. Actually, some 3s at some select sports books. 43.5 being the total. Washington football team off that tough loss, heading a mile high here, Teddy. What are we thinking? Football team and Broncos.
I told you we had a bunch of emergency betting alerts today, and this is one of them.
Doodly-oo.
Doodly-oo.
Emergency betting alert. Doodly-oo. Doodly-oo.
Yeah, if you like Washington, grab the 3.5 now. It's not going to be there. This is going to 3. And again, look ahead line, Denver 4.5. My powering number, Denver 5. The markets, and I can understand why the markets like Washington. Again, this is a team that in many ways outplayed Green Bay yesterday. They didn't punt. And they scored 10 points. All right? Which is
weird.
Really hard to do. I remember there was a game early in the season where the Chargers played the Cowboys, and the Chargers had 17 in that game and didn't punt. And that's hard to do. To get 10 points in a game and not punt, it's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they did. 17 red zone plays and obviously no touchdowns. They outgained the Packers by 100 and something yards. They had 5 scoreless trips inside the 30-yard line. They had back-to-back series and inside the 5. Jonathan Allen, the defensive tackle. We're such a better football team than what our record says. But at the end of the day, you can only go by what we've done. We're 2-5? That's just who we are. Losing teams find ways to lose games. That's Jonathan Allen. That's a quote from Washington. Losing teams find a way to lose games, and they're 2-5. They're finding ways to lose games. They signed Blewett yesterday. Remember Blewett, the kicker from Pitt, who blew the field goal against Pitt and immediately blew one in. And he hadn't kicked it in anything until it's like 2016 or something. Washington's got issues. All that said, Denver's got issues. 4 games, last 4 games since that 3-0 start, 4 losses, and in all 4 of those games, the same problem for Denver. Didn't control the offensive line of scrimmage. Didn't control the defensive line of scrimmage. They had Cleveland. They had a chance. They had momentum. And what did the Browns do? 3rd string running back, no tackles, doesn't matter. They ran the ball right down Denver's throat to close out the game. Vic Fangio, quote, the last drive was very frustrating. We loaded up against the run, and we couldn't stop them. They should be getting Judy back this week. It makes a difference at wide receiver. But they've been without Judy and Hamler and Ugabami, or whatever his name is. I can't pronounce it. I apologize. But that's their 3 speed guys. Teddy Bridgewater's looked awful the last couple of weeks because he got no one to throw to. Denver's not an easy team to lay points with right now. Washington's not an easy team to take points with necessarily, given what we saw yesterday. But the markets are clearly moving towards the football team in early betting action. If you like Washington, grab the plus 3.5 now. Although, if Judy ends up playing, it could go back to 3.5. All that being said, it's clear on Monday morning, no one laying points with Denver.
Sure. So plus 3.5 here, guys. The emergency betting alert for the Washington football team. I'd say about half the sports books right now, at least on the Wager Talk odds screen, have 3.5, maybe a little bit more. So definitely available in Vegas and I guess nationwide. We got Tampa Bay and New Orleans up next, guys, for the final afternoon kick on Sunday. We're seeing Tampa Bay there open up -4. We're seeing mostly -4 in the hooks here, Teddy. A couple -5s actually popping up. 50, 51 being the total. This one in the Big Easy.
Yeah, a look ahead line, as you mentioned, Tampa 4, and total of 50. My powering numbers, Tampa 5.5. I got the Bucs as the best team in the NFL. And yesterday's game, once again, showed what Tampa's capable of doing, and they're in rhythm right now. The market's 4.5, 50. We're seeing a little bit of over money, not much. I'm not seeing any dramatic indications that this line's going to do anything before kickoff tonight. If the Saints look bad, Tampa will be higher. If the Saints look good, Tampa will be lower. Not much lower though. The Bucs they're a hot team. Now they do have cluster injuries in the secondary. That is very much a concern. All that said, where they have 4 sacks and 3 interceptions yesterday, and you can't run against that Tampa defense. They're forcing every opponent to being one-dimensional, which means that it's going to be a Jameis Winston game for New Orleans against a defense that does have injuries in the secondary. And I mean, Tampa's without Antonio Brown yesterday. They were without Gronkowski yesterday, without Levante David yesterday. It hasn't seemed to matter. That's a deep team, and they're clicking on all cylinders. If the Saints lose tonight, this number's going to come higher. If they win tonight and cover, not going to come a whole lot lower.
Guys, we got the Sunday night game and the Monday night game to end it. Huge shout out to the chat box, everybody joining us live. We got Spring Hill in the chat box saying dangerous game here for Tampa Bay. Watch out. And Omar saying, Teddy, you and Drew are awesome for taking the time to do this and sharing the great info. Love listening to this, but never caught it live. Love catching it live. And guys, shout out to you, Omar, for the shout out in the chat box. And also, we do go live 10 a.m. Pacific time each and every Monday on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. But if you're watching on replay, that works too as well, guys. Feel free to leave a comment below in the YouTube section. We'll answer questions throughout the week. So we do appreciate everybody, however you're watching, live, on replay. We really appreciate it. Please smash that like button and feel free to comment below. We actually like it when you do. And we're in there answering throughout the week, guys. So talking about the Sunday night game here, Teddy, we get the Cowboys and the Vikings. Dallas -2 in the hook, road favorites, 54 being the total in Minnesota.
And I'm really debating to doodle-oop this or not, because it's been all Cowboys money. We probably could doodle-oop, but the problem is I haven't seen the signs that it's going to 3 yet. And that's what makes the sense of urgency. So this is a semi-doodle-oop. If you like Dallas, not going to hurt you to get involved right now. They're certainly a hot team in the markets. At the same time, the concept of Mike McCarthy with extra time to repair versus Mike Zimmer with extra time to repair is no concept. You trust Zimmer a lot more than you trust McCarthy, especially with Dallas as fat and happy as they could possibly be. 5 straight wins coming off that impressive overtime win in New England in a game where the Patriots punched and they punched back. So where the markets are moving, again, the markets, it's clear there's going to be Dallas money. I'm not convinced there's enough money to get to 3. Look ahead line, 2.5, 51.5. My powering number is 3, and the market's open 1.5, 2. Now we're seeing 2.5s this morning, but I'm not seeing that indicator. I haven't seen any book show me that they're going to move to 3. So we could emergency betting alert it, but 2.5 is probably where it's gonna sit for a little while. So we'll see. We'll sit with the 3 emergency betting alerts we already had and leave this one as a maybe. Was it 3 or 4? We did 4 already. Sorry.
Yeah, we're at 4, Teddy. I'm keeping track here, and if we're not doing the music, we're not counting it as an emergency betting alert. So should we cue the music?
I can't decide for this one, and I should be able to look right. At 2. Yeah, the answer is yes, we should, because it's only going up. Right? It's not going down.
Doodle-you, emergency betting alert. Doodle-you.
If you like Dallas, again, there are 2s out there. There's still a prominent 1 out there with juice.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised at all if it's 2.5 or 3 everywhere by the end of the day.
All right, there we go, guys. Cowboys as a emergency betting alert to make 5 on the show. Teddy, I think this is a record. I don't know. I don't have the record keeping in front of me, but guys, 5 emergency betting alerts so far. We got 1 game left too. Could this be the 6th? Monday Night Football here, November 1st. We're already to November. Talking for next Monday. New York Giants, Kansas City Chiefs here, Teddy. 52 being the total. Chiefs -10, laying doubles here. We know that they haven't been that great against the spread, but they are going against the Giants here, Teddy. We're seeing 52 -10, Kansas City at home.
So look-ahead line was -13 and 54. So we're seeing a significant market adjustment against Kansas City. That being said, my powering number is 9, and I'm not betting the Chiefs, man.
No.
The Super Bowl loser yesterday was the first time. I can't remember the last time I saw it. Remember the last time you saw the Chiefs quit? I mean, they quit. They were done before halftime in that game. And I haven't seen that look on Mahomes' face. I should say that. I've seen that look on Mahomes' face a bunch this year, but I haven't seen the look on his face affect the level of play. They were done yesterday. They were down. It was 14-0, and that game felt done.
Right.
I mean, when KC's down 14-0, they take a punch, they punch back, and that didn't happen yesterday. And of course, you have a team that's had all kinds of turnover issues, all kinds of penalty issues. The Chiefs beat the Browns on opening day in a wild game back and forth. Since that time, you know who they've beaten? Straight up wins.
Mm-mm.
Philly,
No, I don't.
and Washington.
That's it.
That's it. So I chunked KC down after Sunday's game. Okay. The Super Bowl loser curse is real. And when you've been back-to-back Super Bowls and now you got a losing record and you have a quarterback that's just chucking it around and a defense that can't stop anyone. And again, the Titans could have scored as many points as they wanted to yesterday. Now, last week is last week. Now it's circle the wagons time for KC. Andy Reid saying all the right things. They made a few more plays than we did, particularly on the first few series there. I've seen our guys do it and make the plays. We're just not doing it right now. Patrick Mahomes talking about the hit he took at the end of a disappointing day. You get hit pretty hard. Sometimes you just want to lay there. Plus, it was 4th down. It was a disappointing day, disappointing way it ended. Mahomes already with more interceptions, more turnovers this year than he's had in any other season, including the playoffs. Tennessee blitzed once in 44 dropbacks, and Mahomes is pressured 18 times. That's a problem. Oh, and the pass rusher they don't have got even worse. Chris Jones hurt yesterday. Tyrann Mathieu hurt yesterday. Giants coming off their best showing of the year. Defense dominated. They gave up 173 yards and 3 points, but there's a bit of a class difference between facing Sam Darnold and the Panthers offensive line and Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. And Giants, not the flavor of the week the way Tennessee is this week, but the markets are starting to crash on KC. I'm not convinced the betting public's going to crash on KC yet. They made too much money and seen too many good things from Patrick Mahomes. But right now, for me at least, the Chiefs are a one-way team. Like I mentioned, my powering number on this game, 9, even though the markets are at 10.
Teddy Covers on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. I'm on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. Guys, thanks for tuning in. That is all of the NFL opening line report. Huge shout out to the chat box. And anybody that comments below, all the people that commented, over 170 people last week. We really appreciate that. Teddy and I will be in the comments on the YouTube channel throughout the week. Please smash that like button if you're liking the content here, guys. We had 5 emergency betting alerts, so jam-packed show, and helped you get some winners on those emergency betting alerts last week. Hopefully that continues here. Teddy Covers with the goods. Teddy, throw it over to you for any kind of final thoughts here before we shut it down.
Yeah, and again, the concept of the emergency betting alert, I'm not trying to put you guys on. It's not about a side that I like or a side that it's about getting the best of the number on Monday morning. And that's the key. Now, the only thing I'm going to ask, all right, you guys like the show. Boy, the comments are so flattering. I really appreciate it. If you like the show, please tell your friends. That's all we ask. This show is in growth mode, and the numbers the last couple of weeks haven't been growing. So if you like the show, please give us a comment, give us a like, give us a follow, and tell your friends about it. We'll do it again next Monday, same time, same channel, 10 a.m. here on the left coast, 1 p.m. for you guys back east. Between now and then, what do we say, Drew? Enjoy the games, and good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, we know that you might be sick of hearing about spooky good deals this Halloween weekend, but we've chosen this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to bring back one of our most popular specials. The Wager Talk Fill Your Cart is back. This Friday, October 29th, Saturday, October 30th, and Sunday, October 31st, you will get a 31% discount on everything you fit into your cart. Whether it's a daily package, a one-day all access, a 3, 7, or 30 package, a full season of college hoops, or a full 12 months from your favorite handicapper, you'll save 31% with coupon Halloween31. You can fill your goodie bag as many times as you want until the clock strikes midnight on Sunday. Finish off October with this ghostly good deal and fill your cart wisely.